We're going to do we're not going to do English conjugates. We're going to do math conjugates. Okay, let's go. And here you go. This is 7/12. This is straightforward. The radical sign means that when you have a long radical, this is the same as writing your radicals separately. And that's what was done before you. Not quite as crooked as what I'm doing now, but it was done. So that's what you have right here. Square root of 7 over the square root of 12. So this 7 is a prime number. And under the radical, you always consider what the number is under the radical. So this is a prime number. So 7 is here. So since you cannot do a factor tree for the square root of 7, so you don't worry about it. You don't try to do it, okay? But here's the situation. You can do a prime number for the square root of 12. So you have 2 times 3 is 6 times 2. These two 2's cancel. They come outside of the radical because they cancel. And if you think about it, the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 equals the square root of 4. So if you ever get confused, try to remember what's going on here. And the square root of 4 is 2 anyway. So 2 is by itself. It comes out of the radical sign. And then you have 2 times square root of 3 because this 3 doesn't have another partner. So it's by itself. So it has to remain by itself under the radical sign. Okay, so now you have 7 times divided by 2 times the square root of 3. So this is 7 divided by 2 times the square root of 3. There's not a positive or a negative sign. A lot of people are ready to go and say, hey, let's do the conjugate opposite and do -3. That's for people who've already done advanced algebra, and I'm trying to show you how to keep it separate. There isn't one, but there is a under the radical sign. So its conjugate is this. A lot of people say, well, why isn't it the whole number? You know, you could do the whole number, but it would take you around the long way, and it would just cause you to add backwards and forward. It's not worth it. So just do the radicals and keep that as your conjugate. And by the way, a lot of people think that conjugates are only in English, but there are conjugates in math too. Okay, and so this is a math conjugate. Okay, now it's 3. Even if you took it as -3, I'll show you what happens. Even if you took this as -3, if you took this as opposite -3, it gives you a square root of -9. You know, you kind of don't want to deal with that. You just want to take the positive right now so that you would get this square root. Okay, now what's going on here is -3, these two combine, and you find the square root of 7 times square root of 3 is square root of 21. Square root of 21 times 2 over the square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 9. And then you have square root of 21 because this comes out to a 3. And this becomes 2 times 3, which is what I wrote here. Square root of 21 over 2 times 3. So you have square root of 21 divided by 6, because both of these are without a radical. See that? This got rid of the radical. And this 21 is only 7 times 3. When you get into Algebra 2, you might be able to do something like this, and they might say, hey, cancel these out. This is the power of 1, and this is the power of 1. That would get rid of it. But we're not there yet. We're just doing simple conjugates. Okay, so that's the answer, square root of 21 over 6. Now, we're going to do, see how you have a negative sign here? Now you're going to have to worry about negatives and positives. 4 divided by 4 minus the radical of 3. This is not 4 over the radical of 3. It's not what this is. So guess what? Keep that in mind. Step 2. This is negative, so now you need to do your positive signs. Don't ask me why they made algebra so high, but with Euclid and all these other intelligent Greek Egyptians and Italians were doing back in the day. And even some Chinese, they all got together at this conference and started saying, let's do it this way. Okay? And Euclid was trying to do a lot of things in math and in science. And so a lot of people say conjugate, excuse me, conjugates started with him. But anyway, all these mathematicians, regardless of what country from which they came, decided to do all of this. So you have a negative here, so you have a positive here, you have a positive here. Now you're going to see what to do. And already you should be thinking, since it says multiply, I'm going to go 4 times 4, right? And I'm going to go 4 times the radical sign of 3. Okay, and that's just what happened. 4 times 4 is 16, plus, why are we plussing when you have a times here? So we've got to take care of this. This is just the way it's done. It's silly. It doesn't make sense. It's the way it's done. What'd you do under here? Same thing, 4 times 4, 16. It's called the FOIL method. And you want to get rid of this radical. A lot of teachers would just tell you to write it out. But you can't. Not yet. Now, 16 plus radical 3 minus radical 3 are times. You FOILed it. It's a 9, negative 9. 16 minus 3 is what? 13. That's your answer. 16 plus 4. Radical minus 13. And let's go back over a slide for a minute. Okay, let's do this. This 4 times this 4 is 16. So you're keeping everything squared. A lot of people are going to do your FOIL here and then do this FOIL here and get 4 minus negative 3. And then if they do this 4, they get positive 3. And this is what I'm saying. This 4 and this positive 3 are going to cancel out. Why is that? Because the two of them multiplied, added together. If you add them, they equal 0. And if you were kind of dividing them, they would equal 1. And so there's no need to do that because it would just be 16 times 1. Or it would be 16 plus 0, which is still going to give you 16. So this is what I wanted to go over on the other slide. And this is what's happening here. Now you have your 4 squared is 16. That comes here. And this is going to be square root of negative 9. Or the negative square root of 9. So you actually have 16 minus the negative square root of 9, which you don't take away the subtraction sign. You get 16 minus 3, and that equals 13. So this is why your answer is going to be 16 plus 4 over the square root of 3. Give me a second. I'm going to write this back. Give me a second. That's what it did. Yay. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. But that is a 4, believe it or not. Do it better. Let's see if I can do a 4. Invest in a pen. That's a 4. And then this is 16 minus 3. We already did 13. That's your answer. And that's why I wanted people to make sure they understood the concept. Thanks so much for watching. That's your answer. Let me put a check mark.